Hey guys, live
There we
talks.
go. We're rolling.
We got James here.
Hi guys.
We got Harris.
Zip.
And we have Edna.
Hiya.
And we have me. Today
Our first recurring guest.
Oh, yes.
Great.
Thank you for coming back, Edna. We
I'm
appreciate
setting
it.
the record. Thank you. It's very good to be back. It's always fun. So, yeah.
So today we're doing something a bit random. We are going to have
Four
topics. This was Harris's idea. It could go absolutely wrong, and if it does, it's his fault.
I take full responsibility.
Yeah.
So
100%.
to start off, we're all going to have 5-10 minutes each to discuss our topic with the room.
So the idea is we've all written down on a piece of paper our own topic, along with 3 kind of questions on how we want to structure our topic. And we'll go around the table, starting with Siji, because he's really keen.
Oh.
And we'll all have 10 minutes to discuss a topic and see where it goes. And when we reach 10 minutes, we'll finish up the topic, what we've learned from our discussions, and move on to the next one.
And after every 10 minutes, the idea that everyone's really excited about is that Siji gets to pick a song for each person's topic. So, yeah.
Yes, that's the
Highlights. Highlights.
Okay.
All right.
DJ.
So my topic, I like this idea because nobody wants to discuss my topic, but now I have the opportunity to discuss it.
Hey,
So the topic is moving away. Moving away.
wow. Moving away. Okay.
Moving away,
Moving away.
That's like deep.
So
That's
like-
deep. Yeah?
leaving.
Leaving behind.
Leaving behind.
Leaving
Yeah.
people behind, you know?
Right.
So
Okay.
first of all, I'll give a quick story on leaving away, and then we will open up to the room, see if anybody wants to discuss the story, and then we'll go to the questions. So for me, moving away, I have moved away 1 time, 2 times, 3 times,
times.
4 times. 4 times. 4 times. So each time it's been for different reasons.
Nuclear meltdown.
Yeah, basically nuclear meltdown.
Nuclear? Do you say nuclear?
Nuclear meltdown.
Tsunami.
Oh, okay.
Apocalypse.
But
Zombie apocalypse.
each one there's always been negatives and positives to take from each event. My last moving away would be when I moved into my own flat by myself. It was an exciting prospect, but it still affects the people around you, and it still affects you, and you don't realize it until you've done it. The last big one before then, where I actually realized I was moving away, would have been when I left my home in Bucky. And it's funny because when you're moving away, you'll be like, oh yeah, I'm going to stay in contact, we'll do this, we'll do that, it's going to be easy, you're not that far away, just a phone call away and all this stuff. But then that never happens, and then before you know it, life gets in the way, and you just never manage to maintain the relationships that you'd had before. But then, there's always that saying that the relationships that are meant to be will always be, regardless. So, anybody else? Story on moving away. James?
I moved away all my life. I moved away every couple of years. So I'm a bit of a
You like to
veteran.
move
I'm a
it?
bit of a veteran when it comes to moving away. I've never moved. Never lived somewhere for long. I think it's just part of my life. I think moving away, I'm a big fan. It's kind of weird. I'm a big fan of change. I like change. I'm not scared of change. I look forward to it and embrace it. The one thing that is always sad when you move is leaving people behind. I think, and I'm learning the older I get, and the stronger friendships and relationships I have, that it's worth the effort to keep them strong, even if you are no longer living in close proximity. And it's, moving away. But when you change things and you move away, there's infinite amount of possibility. I think it's nature's delight. I think changing and going somewhere new and experiencing new experiences, you can't really get further out of your comfort zone than the place that you're comfortable in. And to totally move away from that and start a new challenge, new life. I think we're humans. It's very an act of being human. It's by adapting and starting new accomplishments.
Yeah. House. What about you? Story on moving away?
Moving
What's it to you?
away. Well, I have experienced moving away quite a bit. Not as much as James here. But, I mean, I've moved countries 3 times. I've moved within countries, well, a couple times. And it's a journey, but it's I think it's only left positive impact to my life. It gave me the ability to really kind of adapt to each new environment I'll go to, and I was able to quickly find friends and find common ground and find the beauty in each of the new places I visited. You know, it was never like a sad. I mean, it's sad leaving people behind, but when arriving at the new place, it was never like, oh, I don't know anyone, or this doesn't look familiar, or it's always a new adventure. That's how I always saw it. And that's how I think that it's important to see it in that way. So you experience it and you gain as much from it, as much from a possibility. You can experience the same thing, but depending how you view it, you know, that experience might be completely positive or completely negative, or a mixture of the two. So going with the mindset that I'll just experience this new place and try everything, and it will be an amazing adventure. I think it left moving has done me good.
Edna, what about you? Moving away.
Oh, wow. Okay, so first of all, for me, I think it's just a deep topic, and then hearing each of you like talk about your own moving or how you think about moving. I mean, I have so many questions, like, so I want to know more of the story, but I guess that's not the point.
Well, you can ask us after you still have 5 minutes.
Okay, great. I mean, I moved a lot in my life. I mean, I've lived for a very long time. I've lived at least a minimum of 2.5 years on 4 continents. I'm not a very sentimental person, so in fact, when I generally don't tend to take pictures. I mean, other people can do it. It's not something I particularly like to do, I don't keep mementos or little things or things like that. I always think that the movement is in it. For me, it's that image of my life there, of what I experienced. So like you, James, I really love moving. But sometimes I don't know if I'm running away from something or I'm running towards something. So there's some moves where I've been active and proactive and said, I want to do this. And then there are other moves which have come to me and presented themselves that I never really thought of, but it just seems like a better idea to do in my life at that time. So I feel that that's not proactive, but it's a move I've made. So there's always a very different, I think, purpose to, if you in reflection on why you move. But I mean, I think it's always very good. But for me at this stage in my life, and this is only the last year, I feel that I actually want to not move. I just want to be in a place where the baker knows me and the restaurant the people in the restaurant know me, and
the hairdresser calls you by name.
Yeah, exactly. That's really the point I've reached.
Yeah. Do you know when you've gone on that point, you move around a lot, you don't really integrate so much into a community.
Yeah.
You know, you're an outsider. You're a bit of a stranger until you get to know people.
Yeah.
But then you move again. You get to know. You build up strong relationships, or close relationships with people, and then you're gone. To start again. And then I think we're humans. I think deep down we're designed to be tribal, community. We're social, but we're designed, I think, to settle. With the same people, not necessarily the same location, but the same kind of people, community. Maybe I often wonder, because I know a lot of people who've never left their birthplace all their life. They've lived and died in
Yeah.
one place, and I wonder, and their friends are the same friends pretty much they've had since primary school, but they've got such a great community around them. People obviously that'll bring its own problems and disadvantages, but I do often wonder, what my life would have been like if I'd just stayed in my birthplace or one place, and grew up and lived a life there.
Yeah.
Would they have been more keen, and would they have seen the advantages of leaving home and being independent and taking risks and having the courage to face my fears and go out of my comfort zone? I don't know. It's hard to say.
So,
I was gonna say James was talking about like tribal and stuff. That is true, but then again, it's in our genes. What is our species? Like there was the other one that went extinct. Like Neanderthal, and where the just
Ones after.
Homo
Homo
sapiens.
sapiens, yeah. It's just how, so I mean, it was in our gene that we didn't want to stay in the same location.
But we're the same people.
But we're the same people. So the question, so we like to change location. It's in our gene from that time. But to have the same, I mean, we create strong connections, as you said, and we don't want to lose them.
It's like I know in some untouched places, like in the rainforest or Papua New Guinea, for example, where the tribes, the mother gives birth to the children, but she's mothering other children. Like it's a community where the mothers are everybody's mother, the children's everybody's children, and they grow up that way. It's like a communal parenting kind of thing that happens. I remember reading that. I thought that's an interesting idea. But it just shows you like how important, even to these tribes, indigenous tribes, how important having that community and collective parenting is, especially for children, I guess. But that's an interesting topic.
it is an interesting topic.
Why did you choose that topic?
Why? Okay, there we go. Look, there's some questions. So why I chose the topic was
Let's turn it around on you.
it was to find out different people's perspectives on it and to see see the positives and see the negative aspects on it. I made a boo-boo on the first, so I hadn't shared it to my page, so we didn't have any views. So I'll give you a quick update. We asked everybody in the room what was moving away and what it meant to them and how they defined it. And
we were not live.
we were live, but I shared it on the Live Talks page rather than my personal page. No, I started on the Live Talks page. I didn't share it on the personal page. So
okay.
Yeah. So so James spoke about moving away. He's moved away 16 times. Harris talked about changing 3 different continents. Countries. And Edna talked about continents, 3 continents. Yeah.
Many countries in both continents.
And I talked about the difference between moving away from a home and moving away from a city to moving away from a home. So the reason I brought it up was to show the different variations, because to me, we just talked about the genetic aspects of moving away. And to me, it's all about where the home is. Because you can move anywhere, you can go to any city anywhere, but as long as you feel at home, you can stay there forever. It's like when people get into relationships, they'll be like, oh, wherever my other half is, that's where home is, If your other half moves away, then
I like debate.
Because like right now, like I mean, if someone asks me where's your home, like I'll be like, what do you mean? Like home Cyprus, home Germany, or home UK? Like I kind of like have bonded with all of these countries, and I feel like each one is my home in some certain way.
But the place you want to go to is
Switzerland.
Exactly.
Oh, that's a different home now. See?
somewhere where you've never lived before, and that's what moving away is about. It's all about. It's like even as tribes, like they move around until they find somewhere to settle, and you don't settle until you found that place that calls you that feels like home to you. It's like you said you finally found somewhere you want to settle, which is Aberdeen.
No.
No? I didn't say that. Think about it.
No, it's just it's a question of when do you feel that you want to stop moving, like and
Some place
then.
when.
Sorry.
It's not a place. It's when.
Yeah, exactly. Like, and I mean, I think that there are many things in your life that decide. Sometimes you just you miss those, maybe having those long connections, or you miss. I think the longer you know people, the easier it is to just jump into a conversation and just continue forward. And when you're in a new place, sometimes you have to start at hello, as they say.
My name is.
Yeah, exactly, right. So I don't know. It's just wanting to. It's just stop. You just want to stop moving. And does that mean you don't necessarily have those new experiences? I don't think so. I do think that you can even be in a place and you've not even explored half of it.
Yeah.
Until every day can be an exploration. Every week you explore something else. So, and now we're so connected globally, you can still physically kind of have a home somewhere, but still do all the moving you want.
I think that's one of the positives. I mean, maybe the only positive of social media, but it really, it could. I mean, apart from all of everything else happening on it, it really connects people that are miles apart and would have not been able to. All four of us here, we talk on social media, but we're able to meet in person and talk to each other. But connecting with people far away is.
So, I'm going to cut you off. I'm going to quickly end it with.
Well, no, you got 1.2 minutes.
Oh, do it. Okay. I thought it was gone over.
So I changed. I scrapped it. I went to 15 minutes each conversation.
Okay, that's good to know.
So, moving away, I would discuss it because I meet, and the thing behind me is loving. I love people. I love to learn people's motivations and to why they do it, because to me, intention is more important than words. And until you understand their motivations and as to why they think the way they do, you don't really know what their words actually mean, because everyone says stuff in different ways. So the reason why I would discuss it was to find out what moving away meant to different people in the street. So I'm going to pass it on to the next person, and I'm going to end it with a song.
Oh, that's a good one.
This is like Madagascar. It's like that.
Yeah. Who's going next, by the way?
Or we can go James.
What? Guys, go around the
I can
table.
do that thing. No, you should.
What, you wanna go deadlift? Yeah?
No, I want to go third.
Right. Yeah, we'll go. James,
No.
James will go and then you go.
No, I don't want to put James at pain. James.
I don't mind. I'll do whatever.
Okay.
All right, James.
James, you've got. Oh, perfect time up.
Oh
my gosh.
Is there a God?
Is
there a God?
Ooh, 15 minutes.
All right. Well, I guess I should. It's a question anyway. So I'm interested to find out what you guys' opinions are on God, the universe, whatever. Is there a force in the universe, an intelligence to the universe? Is there an influencer or some kind of creator? What is God to you if you believe in God? And if you don't believe in God, why don't you believe in God? What is your beliefs on life and creation? All right.
I'm sorry, Mama. Nah, kidding. Is there a God? Is there a God? I don't know. Do I believe in God? I don't know. Do I think there is a God?
I don't know.
Do I pray to God sometimes? So,
Okay.
yeah, exactly.
That was a twist.
Yeah,
That was a twist. There you
Yeah.
go.
See, I don't know.
There you go. So do you pray for God? It's like when you say you pray to God, do you mean, oh God, please, 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 please. Yes.
So,
You know.
I think it's, for me, when it comes to the whole God thing, it's a whole case of belief. Not believing in myself enough to achieve something, so I need a higher power to default to. So it's like when, I don't know, so yesterday actually as an example, I was going away to see, well, I've paused too long now. I was going away to see my other half, and on the way there was a big puddle in the road, which had caused an hour-long traffic. So it took me an hour to get from McDonald's Bridge of Dawn just past the AECC. So
Oh,
then,
wow.
yeah,
An hour. Wow.
Wow.
an hour.
For our non-Aberdeen fans, that is a 1 kilometer.
15-minute walk.
It's less, yeah.
Less than a kilometer.
Yeah,
Wow.
took an hour. So
Wow.
and at this point it was like an improv decision, and I thought, oh yeah, let's go do it. It'll be fine. I'm like, I'll be there in 20 minutes, and I convinced him that it was cool to come over and all this stuff. So yeah, I was going, and it took an hour, and then in my head, my brain was like, oh, maybe this is God's way of saying, oh, I shouldn't be going, blah 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 blah. But then again, I was like, oh, maybe it's God's way, because there was another twist on it, and I was like, oh, maybe it's God's way of saying that as well. And then while I was saying, because I was out there for now, I'm like, why am I even why am I going to this God tonight? And I realized it was because, I was kind of worried about how the outcome of this journey might be. So I was like, no, let's just give it to a higher power, and we can overanalyze the situation. And not overanalyze the situation, but give the responsibility of the situation to someone else. Mm-hmm. And then when I actually found out, because at this time I didn't know what the holdup was, so I thought maybe there was a traffic jam or something. And it turned out there was a big lake in the road, and I was like, well.
Also what?
There was a lake. There was a big, a pond that covered the whole dual carriageway.
Yeah.
And then in my head, I was like, well, I guess you could blame this down to a God. But then if you did blame this down to a God, this means God put this pond here to stop you from getting there, and also slow down all these other hundreds of people and spoil their day as well. So I'm like, maybe this wasn't a God thing. Maybe this is just a you putting a... So yeah, I believe in God when I'm in doubt if believing in myself.
I like that. And
or when I'm too afraid of
that shows
the responsibility of the situation.
Yeah, that kind of shows some real self-awareness, I think.
The most self-aware person here.
Yeah.
Oh, if you say so.
Yeah.
Self-awareness, boom, boom. Oh, yeah, I like it.
Feel.
All right. Okay, so you say some very interesting things there, Siji, but I'm not going to jump on some of them.
Self-awareness bomb.
Yeah. Okay, so to be honest, this is like the first time I have to think about this question in 20 years or even in 30 years. Yeah, and I think that for ask, is there a God? I think it depends. You can ask a scientist and they will give you a very different perspective from someone who is not a scientist. I think as a person, it just depends on how deeply you can, I don't know, think about certain conceptual things which are not real. I mean, which are just, it's a concept like many things, but it's so conceptual, and I'm not a very good, I generally don't have this ability to go very deep. So yeah.
Life talks.
I know. Well, on certain concepts, it's like this is a concept that I've struggled with all my life. Only because, not all my life, certainly not in the last 20 years. It's been very clear to me. I don't believe, but that's because it's very. I don't know how to reach something, and but yes, I went to boarding school, which was an Anglican boarding school. And, it was so interesting to see other people operate in a way that believed in a God, and the expectation. I thought I was a failure for trying very, very hard. And it's a mental torture to try to have the same belief and failing to reach something. And then I came to peace with it. So how do I what guides me? Because people look at religion to set their values and things like that. But I think I look at my family, for example, and some of the values that they adopt. And I think in the end, for me, it's always just try to be good and try to be the best person you are. That's for me my basic fundamental way that I operate. And if I get lost in it, because clearly you can get lost sometimes, you get distractions in life. I do have some close people who I can talk to, and they notice I'm a bit disoriented, and you get settled emotionally. Maybe it can be, if you're unsettled emotionally, you can lose focus. And but certainly when I become settled as a person, I always go back to that that's very simple. Be good and try to be as good as you can. That's it for me.
Yeah, I absolutely agree with you there. It's interesting that people confuse morality with religion, right? They think that, to have morals,
You need religion.
you need religion, right? And that's demonstrably bullshit, Demonstrably so, because look at all the wars and
Yeah.
the killing
that are not
that have
for
got
religion.
are all because of religion, really. So it's interesting that, the idea, and some of the most moral people in the world are probably atheists, and they don't. So I think that's understandable. So now you've gone 20 years without thinking about it. You've just decided, no, there is no God. I know this.
I haven't just decided. It's for me. And when I say it's still open, it's who knows? Maybe something will happen. But I know for sure it's a concept that I cannot grasp, and it's not.
But we say God, but it's a bit of a restricting concept, God, because all the religions have claimed God as being this. Each religion have their own God, and they claimed it. So, but what about just an entity or a power? Or just an energy, just maybe more abstract, something that exists in the universe that maybe holds everything together. It doesn't have to be even a conscious being, or it could just be an energy that you think might not be scientifically proven or anything.
Yeah.
Some kind of intelligence.
That's deep for me.
Some kind of, okay.
But is that your answer?
Yeah. What is that? That sounds interesting, Harry.
Well.
Is there a God?
I think going to the God as is claimed by religion, because every religion has kind of created their own idea about God, or it's all knowing, or has created the universe, something along those lines. But I think that kind of idea is not what my kind of belief and idea about the world is. I think the universe exists, and we really don't know why it exists. We don't know how we don't really know how it exists. We know the Big Bang, but what happened before the Big Bang? Why did that happen? What was going on? There's a lot of unanswered questions, which we might eventually
skeptic.
we might eventually answer, but I think there is some sort of cosmic energy. That cosmic energy just might be entropy. That's scientifically proven. Entropy. That's just that everything turns to chaos, and everything turns to disorder. It's an energy that kind of the universe abides by that law. But I don't know if there is a conscious kind of being that overlooks everything. I'm not really sure what my own belief on the whole aspect is. I don't think I will be able to have just one belief on this whole idea of God and universe. I think it's always changing, and it's just adapting to my kind of state of mind and situation.
Yeah, I like that. I think I'm very similar to you. I think I'm very similar to all three of you. The evolution of my belief in God, I guess, has evolved and it's changed and it's adapted. I once believed that God was this man with a grey beard sat on a throne, listening to us and dishing out punishments, or people would pray to that person to give them good luck or good fortune or whatever. And I went, there is no God. It's nonsense. It's kind of living some kind of artificial simulation, which if there was a God, it would be whoever programmed it. And then I've gone, then I've gone into, look, so far we know that there's the Big Bang. That's all we know. And then, as you say, we don't really know. There's nothing, we don't really know what it is. The very fact that we're all conscious and we're experiencing life itself, for me, gives me, I suppose it's more a belief, an innate sort of feeling and knowing that consciousness is some kind of intelligent energy. The fact that it feels like the universe, the very purpose of the universe was to sprout creatures that had consciousness. And I just think that there is some kind of hidden intelligence within the coding, within the rules of physics, within the science, and within the formulas, within the mathematics of the universe, which had to have been governed by something, for some kind of means.
Why does gravity exist?
Why does gravity exist?
Why does magnetism
Why is the
exist?
speed of light 299 million meters per second? Well, you know, these kind of things which we can't, which, you know.
I do have to question, I'm not questioning you, but I just caution, right? This idea that we're consciously experiencing. I mean, I think that so many people go through life without, yeah.
That's true, yeah.
Yeah,
That's true.
that consciousness, I mean, I think many people are unconscious. That
Agreed.
kind of leads to just,
Well, all I can be sure about is that I'm conscious.
yeah,
Because I'm aware of this and I'm experiencing it, I'm reflecting upon it.
yeah,
You know, I'm having introspective moments about, well, who am I?
yeah.
Who am I really? You know,
That's
who
interesting.
these thoughts that I'm having,
That's interesting.
am I having these thoughts, or are these thoughts actually having me? You know,
Whoa.
where are these thoughts
I
coming from?
know. It's
You
deep.
know,
Yeah.
perhaps we're all just antennas for consciousness, and it's filtered through our DNA, it's filtered through our genetics and our hardware that we have. You know, perhaps God is us. Perhaps we are all gods.
Yeah, this is interesting. You both say this. For me, this definition of what a god is, because when you're a kid, there's this way. Once a subject is introduced, there's a way of thinking of what it is. It's like this big. It's either physical or it's spatial in some way, and so you have to maybe like unwire yourself to think of a different.
Different God.
Yeah, exactly.
An
Right?
unconventional God.
Yeah.
You know?
It's like one of the things that I've been following a lot, something called Taoism, and that. So Taoists, they say the Tao, which means roughly translates as the way, you know, and that is their version of God. They don't believe in one entity or multiple entities. They just believe in this force in the universe, this highly intelligent force, which they say it does nothing, but it leaves nothing undone. It's like it works in mysterious ways, but everything is exactly as it should be. And they kind of say to go naturally with your life, you know, to be naturally who you are and to not resist things, and to find out who you are on the deepest fundamental level and to act that out. Basically, to be a loving person and to follow your heart, essentially. That is the Tao way. And say, you know, you can't explain it, it just is. You know, but they also, this is another concept, which I kind of think is closer. There was to be a God. This is closer to what God is than the religious ideas of multiple entities or one single entity. You know, that is creative, and he influences things, and he interferes in our life.
Watches us
watches
when we sleep.
Yeah. It tells you what you can and can't do with your genitalia, you know.
Okay, so that is interesting. But I mean, yes, I mean, a lot of people really have, they find religion as a way to, I think, it helps them create or follow certain, and guide the way they act and believe,
that's
values and things.
That's one of the things, like, I don't, why do you have to base your life, base your beliefs, base your morals, base your whole life experience on someone else's opinion?
Because people are too afraid to believe in themselves.
I don't know.
I like that, man. I like that. And this is an interesting.
Oh, sorry. That was a generic. I shouldn't have said people.
But
For me, I'm too afraid to believe in myself.
Yeah.
But you are. What if we were a god? You know. What if? You know. You're saying.
You know, I think people in a certain part of the world will say that there is a very Western way of thinking that is very dominant in how we think about right. And we here on this table are very. Our training has this very Western perspective. So people from another with a different orientation and philosophy on this would have a very different view, even on whether they should question anything that they learn. It's this scientific way of learning that maybe makes some people question, but some places they don't. Certainly, they don't follow.
No,
it,
I
which
know.
is- yeah.
That's the important thing,
I was
isn't it?
going to say, I said a couple of TV shows I've been watching and they've talked about God and the whole concept and stuff. And it's funny that the spin that, I don't know, whoever is creating this is putting on it. It's all about how there is a God. He created the world, but then he's just kind of,
This is a show. What?
Lucifer, Sabrina, Good Omens. I don't know if they're all done by the same producer. Maybe that's why they've all got a similar twist. I need to look into that. But
We're talking about shows,
yeah, TV shows.
TV shows.
And it was basically how there is a God. He created the world. He did all this stuff. But everything else is just how humans have. It's told people to do stuff, but it's how they've interpreted it, how they've decided to do what he's actually asked. So yeah, it's been interesting. And it's all about how. So in Lucifer, there's these angels, and these angels they are what they believe they are. So if they believe they've been good, they will be an angel and they will have wings. If they believe that they've been bad, this one particular angel, he becomes a devil and has a devil face and all this stuff. And it's funny that means, and it's like a similar thing to the other show I was watching. And it's funny because it means you might actually be a bad person, but because you believe you're good, you will still have wings and you will still be.
Can I add kind of thing to the thing you're saying? I think there's something that we can see from that, like in real life. That's how we might. I'm talking to James this another time about believing. Have positive thoughts might have a positive effect on how you heal from a certain. I mean, why does placebo work? I mean, this is exactly why placebo works, because our own power might be sometimes much greater than that of a bunch of chemicals bonded together in a
Power of belief.
the power of believing in ourselves, and that
Even believing in an eternity. If you believe in that entity enough, it's enough to heal yourself.
exactly. So I'm saying that you're saying about that God has done that, and then people believing in themselves a certain way gives a certain outcome. I mean, that's exactly a thing that happens here, and we can interpret that however we want. We can see we can believe that if we believe God is here, is gonna save me, and then you believe that you're gonna be healed. You are gonna be healed because of that belief.
In a sense, we create our own realities.
Yeah.
We're constantly creating our own realities by our beliefs. And how you wake up in the morning with whatever mindset, you're gonna wake up in the morning feeling like you're gonna have a bad day. You're gonna have a bad day because of your mindset. But perhaps even deeper than that, we don't really know what reality is. We're trying to figure that out. Perhaps we'll find out in another 100 years that we are actually literally creating our own realities. The reality that we're processing through our senses is literally nothing but being created in our minds, and we can somehow influence that. Who knows?
It makes me think of that Jim Carrey movie. Remember?
Got up.
No, the one where he's in the fake world.
Yeah.
Oh,
Was it
yeah.
this?
Oh,
The
Truman Show.
Truman Show.
Yeah.
And
I
maybe
mean, at the basic level.
there's almost thing I were to say, because it just gave me the thought, the whole point of God created the apple.
We've already skipped it.
Have we gone there?
Oh,
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll wrap up.
Yeah, perhaps Satan is the good guy after all.
Yeah, just get out.
I don't understand the story about that. If Satan is in hell punishing bad people, well, isn't he doing God a favor?
Yeah, exactly. That's a lot of the TV shows. A lot of TV shows have talked about.
Don't try to find logic.
And working together. And he's not actually a bad guy. He's just got a crap job, which you might not particularly enjoy. But the one thing I did want to discuss was the whole free will thing, and the fact that God put the tree there, but he warned them. It's if you do this, you're going to see the good and the bad. You can either live a totally happy life where you're just totally happy all the time, or you can eat this apple and see the good and the bad, and then have to actually question who you are and discover all this stuff. And then people chose that, and maybe maybe someone put a negative twist on it to say, oh yeah, he's punishing us. He's not punishing us. he just warned us this is what the world is like, and you can either live in this happy bubble, you know, like when you're at home with your parents.
It's your thing, your choice, you know.
Yeah.
You can be like this. Well, I'll ask you this question because I'm always interested with this question, and then we'll give James to wrap up his topic. Okay, I believe that truth is number one. Whatever the consequence.
What is truth?
When it comes to, well, okay, I'll give you an example that I was gonna say.
I got that.
That's
Yeah.
I'm going down a hill.
So I can give you. I'll give you a choice. All right. I can guarantee you that the rest of your life you will be happy, 100%, but you will be living in a lie. And choice number two is you learn the truth, but the future is uncertain. What do you choose?
But you what?
The future is uncertain.
The future is uncertain. You choose the truth. The truth about what?
About life, about
so you can live in ignorance but be happy, or you can learn the truth and be totally uncertain and maybe not happy, maybe unhappy. But it's the
Is
truth.
that a question to answer?
Yeah.
You want an answer from everyone?
Yeah.
Okay. You seem to have an answer.
The truth, always the truth, right?
Okay.
Nah.
You choose happiness.
Yeah. Yeah. Bring on the blissful ignorance, please. Bring it on. Like morally, I'd like to say, but then again, you know, I feel like there might be a third question there where you can know the truth and still be happy. But if I only have the truth where you learn the shit and where you live blissful ignorance, then I choose blissful ignorance, please.
Well, I didn't tell that you'll be unhappy 100% your whole life.
See what I mean? I just misinterpreted what you said, like when the guy who wrote the Bible.
Well, the question is like it's uncertain. You'll probably be unhappy when you learn the truth, but eventually you'll be able, if you have the right mindset, to overcome that. So it really depends on your person.
Fine, I pick the truth. God damn it.
Okay, so I think for me the choice here is between happiness and unhappiness. Of course, I would prefer to be happy. I don't think that to be unhappy for me is a choice. So if I'm limited to my happiness being not knowing the truth, is that it?
So it's not that you'll be unhappy 100%.
Yes, I understand. But what was the other condition? Knowing the truth and then you'll be happy? You choose not to know the truth.
Knowing you'll be happy.
Yeah, so given the fact that you've presented it as you have two choices, know the truth or not know the truth, because my preference is to be happy, then I will go with not know the truth. But I don't think it's as simple as that. So, but I'm going to go with this option only because I've been given two choices.
Okay.
Only because.
That's fair enough. James, you wanna
Wrap it up.
wrap up your...
Wait, what was yours? Oh, I guess you chose the truth.
Of course. I forgot, that's what I said.
Yeah.
Your truth, yeah.
Basically, that apple falling from
At the end of the day, is there God? It's all belief, faith, gut feeling, and if you go with the scientific view, in which science already admits that they only know a fraction of a fraction of a fraction of a percent of what is actually to know. You know? So
Also, I definitely choose blissful ignorance, sorry.
Alright, so basically no, fuck all, and then we dismiss that there's no God. We go, well, that's we only deal with facts, and yeah, that's true. That's what science should do. So fair enough. But at the moment, until then, you can go with facts of which we know fuck all, and put all your faith in facts, which at the moment, in the grand scheme of things, knows fuck all. Or then you can say, oh well, maybe there is something. I think having a balance.
A lot of uncertainty.
I think
blissful ignorance. Where's the pill?
I think having a balanced view is important. I think you can't. Yep, balanced view is important, and I choose a balanced view of. It could be anything, but I choose to believe my gut instinct on this, which is there is some kind of intelligence at play in our lives and the universe.
Anubhav, I think is one of your friends.
What?
I'm not sure how to say it. Anubhav. He says, I do research on this. You don't have to believe me. but I've learned there is no hell, not the one we think of. We're always there.
Is this?
Hunger is the biggest punishment.
Hell on earth exists, but
All
so
right,
does
some
heaven.
music. Roll on.
What's it?
Okay.
The idea of heaven and hell is just an idea in of a mind.
Yeah.
It's a mindset.
Have you got a new person? Oh, nice. Found it naturally.
Nice.
Love into the
Some
news
people
there.
would argue.
Well, it's heaven and like heaven and hell exist both on earth. You know,
Some people would argue.
some people would. Well, I'm sure.
Yeah.
I'm sure most people would argue with that.
Yeah.
Let me say, I mean,
But you could. It depends where you're born. You could be born in a
Yeah.
hellish place, or you could be born in a.
it's your viewpoint that makes it hell or heaven.
Yeah, that's what the point is. Yeah, it's the mindset. You know, you could. I know there's people that have nothing and could be.
You couldn't find a song, so we're coming.
I'm trying to remember the name of the
Interesting
song.
topic. Interesting topic. I didn't ask you why you chose it, but I would have. I'll ask you later.
No one knows the name of the song.
Well, if you hummed it a bit better, maybe. Every note is the same. No, it's just it's Queen. Yeah. It's
Something
not-
Bohemian
it's
Rhapsody.
Bohemian. Okay.
All right.
This show is sponsored by Heineken, the only way to get food. A gotcha.
Okay, next. We didn't discuss who is going next, but I guess.
Where you're going next,
Yeah, yeah, right. Okay, here's my topic. Listen, there's nothing philosophical in this. It is not, dude. It is just something I don't get because I'm not a tech person, right? You can put it
It's a
closer.
bit. It's a bit.
Yeah?
It's a-
Cat.
Ah,
I love it.
educate us. Okay, great.
Well, you have to start us off, right?
Okay, what do you know already about this topic?
Listen, what do I know about this topic? That's the point. I don't know anything about this topic.
You
That
don't
is
know nothing?
why. No, I know that I don't quite understand the term, but I know that it has something to do with tricking your date, I think. I don't know if it's only referred to females, that you catfish females,
No.
or even male, you can catfish on the other side. But anyway, please, clearly, we can start with Harris and go anti-clockwise.
Well, actually, first thing I'll say. Okay, so everybody saw like catfishing.
No, just let's leave it there for a bit.
Huh?
Just
No,
for-
go on. Oh, it's
So. What?
go on. He's like, it's freaking me out. Okay, I'm gonna go.
So, first thing clear is actually catfishing is more a woman catfishing a man
There you go.
rather than the other way around.
Yeah, but what does
Get
that, what does
your
that
legs
have
off
to do
me,
with
you
cats or
motherfucker.
fish?
Okay,
I just get it.
so I mean, you know catfish, the catfish.
I know the
Yeah,
catfish.
So, I
yeah,
mean,
yeah, it's not very attractive. This
exactly. That's the whole
Okay.
point.
What are you joking? A catfish is a beautiful creature. It's got whiskers.
Majestic.
It's majestic. Have you ever seen a catfish in
Of
your
course,
life?
I've seen a
Oh,
catfish. I've
you
seen a
don't-
live catfish.
Oh, I've only seen a dead one.
Oh,
No, I've seen a
You've
live. I've seen a live
you've
one.
seen
Of
it
course
when
I've
it's
seen a
filleted on a plate and
Yeah.
everything. So.
live. That's what I've
Okay,
seen.
great.
Okay, so I'll break it down.
Please
So
do.
the thing is that, I mean, catfish is it's supposed to be catfish as a fish itself is the most ugliest fish that exists.
What about the blobfish?
It's still pretty.
Okay.
Well,
The
there's one
anglerfish. Come on.
It's kind of cool name, bro.
Please, we need to get it. I can't get this. I need
Okay,
to know what
so-
it is.
Catfish, right? It's the anglerfish, and the idea is that a woman or a man presents himself or herself online, usually online,
As
As-
gorgeous.
as gorgeous through fake photos or advanced photoshopping skills, and but he actually looks like a catfish. So
Well,
they think
Okay, none of the descriptions I read even mentioned a real fish.
so that's what they go. So I mean, so you're basically, I mean, whatever your dating app, online dating app of choice is, doesn't really matter. But you see someone looks like Angelina Jolie, but actually looks like Angelina Jolie with a catfish head. I don't know. That's the thing. So that's the whole idea of catfish, and it's usually like it sometimes is done by one of the genders to pursue another person of the opposite sex, but usually it's done as a troll. You know what a troll is? It's usually done to troll people
in a negative way. So I'm a chick online, and I'm not Angelina Jolie, but I present myself as Angelina Jolie, and I target you. So I'm trolling you. I'm targeting you.
If you were flirting with me, and you made me think that you're Angelina Jolie,
yeah,
that would be
that's trolling you.
That would be catfishing.
I'll be catfishing. But now if I want to troll you,
if you want to troll me, you can just say, I don't know,
so I'll just be saying nasty things, but I'm just pretending to be.
Not necessarily nasty things. Some people like fall in love with their catfish.
I mean, and it doesn't have to be like
okay.
the troll. I mean, Siji could be pretending to be Angelina Jolie online, and he could be like catfishing me.
Okay.
And I would think maybe.
And you only find out the truth when you somehow meet them in
or
person.
I don't know,
or something.
Or you see through these lies.
Or you fall in love, and that's when the truth comes out, and then you suddenly say, "Oh, I'm really not Angelina Jolie. This is me," and you're like, "Whoa, catfish."
Well, here's the thing,
you're going to get married. And,
like, at what point do you say, right? Okay, I've been catfished. So I reckon,
exactly.
when you meet somebody, I reckon it takes roughly 3 months that people can put up a facade of being this person, and where eventually the real them starts to seep through, and then you see through, and basically you can hold an image of yourself for a certain length of time when you meet somebody, and eventually the real you shines through, or the real them shines through, you know.
So you can swim underwater for only 3 months, and then
whatever. I think it's about 3 months. Yeah, I think it's about 3 months.
Have
Or maybe it could be in the mind of yourself, you know. It's like a form of catfishing if you go and say, oh, you know, I'm not going to tell this person of these things that I should probably be upfront with, and then you know you have to tell them, and it's later on. That's a form of, you know, it's a form of dishonesty, but is everybody capable of it, or, you know, that's the question.
Well, I like your take on it, but yours more like, I mean, term catfishing is 100% on looks.
Oh no, yeah, it's 100% on looks.
It's just there's no.
Yeah.
It's like a word, like for example, you know, a girl, like a woman, like I don't know, like a 40-year-old
let's
woman.
be clear. Yeah.
40-year-old woman puts up a picture of her when she was like 21. And then you go on, it's like, same person, you know? Or they put a picture of like a professional model on as their profile picture.
Yeah.
Or they have advanced photoshop skills.
And I don't know, is it a revenge thing? Maybe it's a jealous ex has done it.
Maybe it's an insecure thing.
It could be.
Maybe they're worried that somebody wouldn't fall in love with them on their looks. So they're just trying to be themselves behind a fake mask, and then they relieve themselves to you.
See, this is the thing. People might think, oh, they'll fall in love with me, but when they get to see the real me, they won't care what I look like. You know?
Yeah, right, exactly.
There was a TV show done a while ago.
YouTube show.
With a YouTube show.
Let's hear this.
Where this guy like.
I'll look that up later.
It's on YouTube.
It's about catfishing.
I know what you're talking about. It's so this channel on YouTube, and they apparently find the catfish or something. They find people that have like a 1% thought that this person might be catfishing them, and then people actually find if it's a catfish or not.
Oh no, not that. It was it's a drama TV show where this person had been catfished and they'd fallen in love with this person.
Oh, with the catfish itself. Okay. Yeah. And
the catfish had fallen in love with them.
Oh yeah.
And then I never watched it. It was just a trailer, so I was like,
okay. I don't know how that ends. I don't think.
Yeah, I don't think it can end well. But here's another thing that made me think about it. Like, what about if you're like somebody who's transgender? So say you used to be male, you've now changed to female. I don't know if that's the correct term. If it's not, I apologize.
Position.
You were born. You've now transitioned to your correct gender, but you haven't told the person that you transitioned, and you're pre-op as well. But you now appear the way you plan to appear for the rest of your life.
Well, it doesn't sound like catfishing from the description we have here.
Is it not?
Because maybe even you look more gorgeous. So
But what about if you haven't told them though? You haven't told the person you're talking to.
there's being deceptive, I think.
Yeah, but Siji, I mean,
Which is-
I think
Is that not catfishing?
no, it goes back to what James kind of said that about we never really know 100% of the other person until like 3 months later. There's a lot of stuff about your personality that a new relationship might not, some of your fetishes or anything along those lines. You don't exactly say right away.
I like how you looked at me and smiled when you said my fetish. I'm like, keep your face down.
No, it doesn't.
Oh my god.
That's right. You best get them up front, right? That's right.
So
you have to print everything.
I like
You're make a list of all your life, your things, and a booklet of what people are signing up for a contract when they start dating you.
Oh yeah, that's a good idea actually. Technically, every time you get into a relationship, you should have a contract that is tailored to your relationship. Like I agree to this, I agree to that, I don't agree to that, I don't agree to that. Well, you should, because otherwise you have these preconceived ideas of what everyone else is going to do.
People just you talk about
You're
it.
making it sound like a business transaction.
It is a business
It's
transaction.
a business
Yeah.
transaction.
Thank
Absolutely. And this is how any relationship should
No,
be.
no.
You you're in love. No, you really have to.
No, you make business.
I think you have to do it.
It's like, do you do like a job interview when you're like on a first date?
That is what the first thing is.
Well, I have
So
to
there's
tell
a
you-
gap in your CV here. What's going on here?
I have to
How
tell
did
you,
your last
right,
breakup end?
that-
Can I get some more details, please?
that this
Reference?
this really does.
Can I get the number?
This discussion can go many places, and I really, for me personally, I think that now at my point in life, I actually tend to be very pragmatic in I think when I think of a partner, and I think that can work. And I have in the past done like a pros and cons, which is really just being pragmatic and saying what are the pluses of this person, what are the minuses, and when the cons are, and I have to tell you, when the cons have been greater and I've gone in, it just ends up as a fuck up. Excuse me.
Yeah.
Well, how do you know? It's not like one.
Because you know what
it's
you
very
want.
clear. I have
After a
some
while,
clear
you
standards.
kind of know
But-
what you
No,
want.
no,
And if
right,
it's not
right,
there,
right.
you're like,
I think
nah,
that's
okay.
sensible though. That's not a business transaction.
But it's okay.
It is any business
Oh,
transaction. is
maybe it's
quite
because you two
sensible.
are business people. Maybe that's where the idea is. But
No.
business transaction-
Nah, I
But
think
anyway,
it is. I
listen.
think it's right.
I think atomizing it down to its like levels. I think
Like, what's
if you like, for example, we've all got pros and cons. We've all got checklists. We've all got an idea of what we like in a person. Like the older you get, and the more relationship you go through, the more idea you have, right?
Yeah.
The better you get to know yourself, and
Yeah.
and it's fine when you get to a certain age and you develop that, and you become you're clear strongly. Yes, I want that. No, I don't want that. Is this going to work? How do they measure up against my model? Of what I want. But I think the reason why I was saying a business transaction is that you're going in when you partner up with a business, your partnership, you're always looking to see what you can get from the business. How can this other business benefit
no.
me?
Yeah, I would disagree though. I mean, I think that you have to also look at it you want the partnership to be successful. And for a partnership to be successful, a good partnership, it has to benefit both of you. And you have to be clear on what you can offer and what the other person can offer. And actually, even working together, you can probably even come up with something else, which is even positive. But I think if you go in with the intention of grabbing and taking as much out of it, then it's not a good agreement. It's somehow it's disadvantaging somebody else, and at some point down the road, it will turn out badly.
It's like, sorry, you finished. You still don't know.
No, you can say what you like because I have my questions there. I have to put them in. I have a description of catfish. I really wanted this.
We've got a couple minutes.
We have a couple of minutes.
Sorry. Go for it.
Okay. Anyway, so the point, even talking about a business relationship or both being on the same page, here's my question, which is very frustrating. Can boys and girls be friends? And it doesn't have to be boys and girls, because it can be if two males are attracted to each other, to the same sex, but not necessarily to each other. Can they be friends?
Yes, I'm friends with my ex.
Yes, but they're not an ex. But
Can you be friends with someone you're attracted to?
no, you don't have to be attracted to them. I find another guy, he likes girls and I like men. Can we be friends?
Well,
We're not necessarily attracted to each other.
Yeah.
So the issue is, every time you go and have a beer with this random person who said, hey, let's have a drink, and you're just thinking, I'm just going to have a drink.
Ooh.
Huh?
That's when it gets.
How many times does it spill over? It almost feel like you're catfished when somebody. Not really. Catfish is not the term.
Oh,
but
I
it's
see.
almost yes. Like
Not
someone
knowing
has
their
snuck in there.
intentions.
Yeah. Snuck in there, different intention. That's the thing. Can they really be friends?
I think they can, but sometimes.
No, okay. I think it's very slippery. There has to be. I mean, the easiest for the opposite sex or like two people that could potentially be attracted to each other.
Yeah.
For them to be friends, if both of them have like a happy relationship, then it's much easier. But if they're both single, if only one of them is single and they're looking for a partner, and maybe the other person is not, the other person thinks maybe this is a potential partner. So I mean, yeah, it's.
I think it's a really good question.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of ifs, buts, maybes, and there's a lot of different answers.
I think it's simple.
Right.
Boys and girls
So-
can be friends. Yes.
Well, yeah, they can, but it depends.
It doesn't. They can
But
be
the-
friends,
yeah, but
but
the
it's
question-
person dependent.
But the
Well,
question,
yeah, of course.
the question Edna has is that if the person has the pretense of we're just friends, let's go for a drink, but that one of the people, the person that invited them out for a drink, maybe has other intentions of sneaking in and trying to seduce that person, or is that unethical? And rather than just being upfront and saying, "Look, I'm attracted."
Exactly.
I don't think it is. I don't think it's unethical.
I think that's just good.
It's not like as long as they don't like force themselves.
I
on
think
you.
it's creepy.
I think it's okay.
Isn't it?
It is creepy, and I
Yeah.
think people should just be
I
open.
like that creepy. Yeah.
Have you got
We'll-
other
we'll
questions?
give us-
I have other questions, but I really wanted.
We can.
No, they're really
But then it
all
kind of
related
kills the
to.
whole romance thing. If people then that's when it comes to what James said about the whole partnership being a business transaction. You can't just go up to someone like, I think I'm interested in you. Do you want to be friends until I figure out if I definitely am or not?
Siji, okay.
Can you?
I'm being pragmatic.
That's not the point. The point is.
But it
the
is
point,
though.
no,
If you
no. The point is, okay. Let's say it's me and Edna.
It's like exactly weird. Fuck it, 2K.
Okay, me and James.
There you go. Let's make some stereotypes here.
Okay.
It's like, no, I can't do it.
Me, I'm trying to talk and you're cutting me with a fucking like a toothpick.
Mhm.
All right. So me and James, I asked James out for a drink, and we could potentially be attracted to each other, right? And the question is, like if I just leave it, you have to set like kind of, we know we're friends, and when I tell you like, oh, let's go for breakfast, it's like a set kind of thing. And if you're asking someone on a date, you should ask them, let's go on a date.
Yeah, you make it clear.
No, but she's not talking about the first time you meet. She's like, even if it's like a couple times later.
Yeah, but it's just, yeah, but
If it's the first time you meet, fair enough. But if it's like, you met a couple of times, you're like, oh, maybe this could lead to somewhere.
Because
Do you
then you should say like,
Exactly.
I've really
When
liked.
the goalpost has changed, yeah.
I really like, I don't know, meeting like what our friendship has become during the last month, and I'd like to take you on a proper date. I think that's in my
Yeah, okay,
opinion,
no, that's true. That's fair.
that'd be more
That's the
fair
way to do it.
Yeah.
on both parties,
Yeah.
and it's clear. There's no like
Yeah.
sneaking somehow.
Yeah.
But maybe they're just shy, Maybe
And,
they're just
and the
like,
truth
yeah,
is
shy.
these days, these days with a lot of social
Well, some
media,
work.
right? Or so many different ways of meeting. And sometimes some of these are meetups, which you don't know is really, you think a meetup is just a meetup, but someone is using this kind of meetup group as a Tinder, right? So it almost feels like it's really important to be very explicit on your intentions. One, because you just never know how people are interpreting it, but two, because I also think that because of a lot of the technology, we've lost so many ways of understanding social behavior, or interpreting social behavior, the nuances, which in the past, before, of course, as soon as you went out for a drink with somebody else, it was clear it was a date, right? But a lot of that has changed, of course, with technology, and
Yeah, that's
given
true.
that so many people are tricky about it.
But I like the aspect of it because, like, for me, sometimes when you meet up with somebody, like I wouldn't know how to behave in a certain situation. But like because I realized I've actually never actually dated anybody without an app. There's always been like an app involved.
With the specific intention of dating.
Yeah. So like when you meet, you know what you're there for. So
yeah.
you're discussing it and blah, blah, blah. And like, I know this person likes me. I know that they like me. And then it's out of the way. And for me, it's more freeing. Whereas if you're just talking to somebody and I'm like, oh, but I don't know. I don't want to embarrass myself. I don't want to do this, blah, blah, blah. It's just more awkward. So I like that social aspect.
Yeah, but that's not the same. Okay, there's like this meeting at a party and just talking to people.
Yeah.
I mean, you don't see someone who's like, I'll date that person. You see someone, you're like, oh, they look cool. I'll go to, which means they look attracted to me. So you go speak to them. You know, you get to know them, and 5 hours later, 5 minutes later, you are like, oh, let's go out for a day or sometimes. But the question is, you know, if you're if you're not making your intentions clear, where you're
Technology. Okay.
See, anyway, that's what you were talking about.
Yes, absolutely. That is exactly what I'm talking about. So anyway, thank you for.
Well, you had two more questions. We can quickly. We can go through them.
No, it was all really about. So I mean, it's already all related. The other one was what is the deal with Tinder and online dating? And guys who are out there, just so that you know, we only had 1 minute to decide on these topics before we started. So the formation and the whole structure is so.
I mean, this is what
people
are watching.
I think okay, they work for some people, but I'm a big believer in actual physical social interaction
initially.
And I think that I've not thought too much about this but things like dating apps inhibiting a culture of impulsivity, like this whole validation swiping and all this kind of stuff, and you know, and for example, Siji's case, we're talking about Siji because he's not in the room at the moment.
Right.
Yeah,
he's Siji, for example. He's using the apps because he doesn't want to be vulnerable and face the possibility of rejection.
Yeah.
And he doesn't want to, you know, so he's using apps as a way, and that's why people do that. And what kind of society are we going to become in which people can't just?
It's the easy way out.
It's the easy way out.
It's always
face, be courageous and face the fears, and actually speak to people. And see that I think we're losing something which has been a part of our evolution. Do you feel that?
And I ask this honestly because I know that you're this very young generation that's really grown up with technology, and so it's so interesting to hear.
I think that like I tried the dating apps and Tinder and stuff like that, and it just doesn't. It's not for me.
Yeah.
And I've decided that it's much better.
But why is it not for you?
I explained when you're out.
Exactly.
Which was some.
Because I think it inhibits this. It inhibits being courageous and facing our fear of being vulnerable and facing with possible rejection. And I think you're never going to learn to do that.
So for you, it's more easier to face your fear of vulnerability and rejection.
I do it because it's harder.
Yeah, it might be hard, but it's still easier. Because for some people for some people with issues, right? If you've got a problem and you can't face it, it's a lot harder for you to face it because it's more difficult for you than it would be for someone else who can actually face it. Because if you can actually face it, it's not as difficult for that person to.
But the only reason I can face it is because I developed that ability.
Exactly.
You know, whereas if, for example, if I can't, my brain's not there. I can't really think of a good example. But when you said that you'd only use Tinder and you know it's easier for you because you know that person likes you, and I get that, it's really nice, you know. But I think you start to learn that. The more actual interactions, when you focus your mind on speaking to people with the intention of, do you know what, hey, I like you, what are you doing next week? And ask them out. You pick up these small social cues. You know, you can tell if somebody's interested in you. They make it clear to you. Whereas, but it's subtle, and you still got that thing where you have to risk and put it on the line. Whereas on Tinder, you don't get that.
But then sometimes when you do put yourself in that position where you're rejected, the other person then looks at you as a weirdo and then be like, well, but why did they say that? Why did they put me in this situation? Which then affects you negatively. So I'm not saying so.
So what you're saying is the other person, if you ask that person out, you're putting them in an uncomfortable situation.
No. I'm saying their reaction could put you in that uncomfortable situation, which then they go on to talk about.
Well, that's
My
life.
point-
Get over
It
it.
should be life.
That's the
But
fear.
you
That's
shouldn't be
right now,
that's a
you
fear of
shouldn't be
vulnerability.
living
you guys are talking
bubble.
from a perspective where you can handle that situation. Some people cannot.
So you're
So
saying
what I'm
that you're saying dating apps are for people with mental problems only.
I wouldn't say that live on camera. But what I am saying is
Basically that.
there's plus size to dating apps. It's
course
out
there
there
is.
for some
Of course,
people.
no.
Which is what I was saying. That's one
Yeah.
point I was putting across. That there's a need for it. There is a need for it.
Well, of
for
course,
some
that's why
people,
it
yeah.
exists.
So it's neither good nor bad. Was
There's
what I
a,
was trying to
but
put
you know,
across.
there's a need for people to have more confidence generally, and for people to believe in themselves generally.
But it's like
You know, but if this, we've come out with this wonder drug called cocaine, and it gives you more confidence and it gives you more belief in yourself. We go, yes, this is what we need. And you get addicted to cocaine, but we know because studies done that cocaine ain't good for you. But I wonder what the long-term effects of using things like Tinder,
I
dating
think
apps are on our social psychology.
I think it's okay because those people who want to push themselves will. Like you said you've tried it, it wasn't for you, and you're like, nah, I want to go back to doing it the old-fashioned way. So people who want to push themselves and who are able to push themselves will push themselves. But there's also like another hidden pretense where we're saying dating apps, and a lot of dating apps are actually not dating apps; they're literally just sex apps. There is actually dating apps out there that are there
But
to date
that's
people,
when it comes
but then there
again.
are actually sex apps that are
Yeah.
just under the pretense of dating apps.
Right, and so this again, I mean, and I know we have to wrap up, honestly.
No, it's okay,
For me,
okay.
this is awesome because I really wanted to hear all this stuff. But I think it now goes to the point that, even if an app is a sex app, sometimes it's not going to say it's a sex app, or it's a dating app, it's not going to say it's a dating app. On the other hand, in the end, many of these things are owned by businesses, and businesses just want to have customers there. So everyone has different priorities.
Yeah.
And so sometimes you really have to be extremely explicit wherever you go, but then at the same time, you have to deal with all these catfishes or being catfished as well. So it's so complex, and maybe it's not complex, but it's like this maze that you have to find your way around. And maybe for rookies, or maybe for people who are more experienced, know how to weed out
I think it's what Jane said about
the
you just
weeds,
have
I
to be
guess.
vulnerable and be able to deal with the outcome of the different situations, which is difficult and tough.
I'll tell you an interesting thought I had about things like Tinder. I'm only saying Tinder because it's really one of the only ones I've experimented with years ago.
Experience is a nice word.
Back in the day, years ago.
Yeah.
But-
years ago.
Right, there's this idea of, first of all, it's based purely on looks mostly. That's the first thing. If you got a good photo,
Okay.
so people use validation, and
This is life.
and people. This whole idea of swipe. You've got 5 swipe. Yeah. So this I
You
cultivated
look
this.
good-looking guy too.
Oh,
I mean, he's a good-looking
flattery.
guy, so I can't imagine
Right.
that he didn't.
But
get
this-
And make your intentions clear.
But my
No.
point. Yeah, right.
Oh, touche. Oh,
But the whole idea is that you go on a date with somebody,
oh. Same thing.
Nice.
Yeah.
or you're dating somebody, and
Yeah.
the whole idea is you've got no obligation to that person to cancel a date or to, because who are they? They're just pixels on a screen. They're just digital words on a screen.
They're
They're not actually a real person
until
until you meet them,
Right.
And
And it
so
sounds like, unfortunately, there's some people who are there for real, good intentions.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
So you have to dig out.
I think
find a
I think accountability is lost.
Yeah.
It's
Okay.
kind of, there's no responsibility there.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think maybe that's with the young people
Okay.
who at the very most, more young people need to learn responsibility and accountability.
Mm.
And I think this is just one element in society which I feel is hindering.
Yeah.
It's kind of like the whole porn scenario,
Yeah.
because
Mm.
porn is now been embedded into the culture from some people from such an early age that they have a thing of thinking that to have sex is like watching a porno, but sex is actually nothing like that.
Really? Do tell.
Yeah, it's not. It's really not like that. It's not about the action shot.
No, please don't. No, let's not go there.
So you're not supposed to have a camera in your bedroom.
No, you're not. You're not actually making it at those cool angles that look good on camera but not good in real life.
I thought I had a swinging camera set. So
Right.
no.
No, it's not.
Okay, I'll figure it out.
You better figure it out. So yeah, the same thing with that. Like it comes so embedded in the culture. Like because the adults are looking at it, they're like, it's just a bit of fantasy. But for the kids who are looking at it, like, oh, this is what we're supposed to be doing.
But
So it's like when movies come into the apps, they go and get it thinking, oh, this is dating. This is how it's meant to be. You're just meant to like talk like this. But they're learning a bad way, and that's when apps aren't good because it just becomes. It becomes like what you said. They lose accountability because they just see pixels. They don't actually see the person anymore. It's like, yeah, it's just what everyone else is doing. It's what you're supposed to do. But if someone on there out of proper attention, they're like, oh yeah, I just want to meet somebody, and like, no, actually, you're in the wrong place. So, but then how do you stop that? You can't stop that by just saying, oh, no apps, because there's people out there that actually need the apps, So it's just one of those things where you just have to YOLO. Where's that? Give me the motherfucking blue pill.
who needs the apps? who
Who
needs
needs the apps? We never needed it for our entire.
That's not true.
How long has that been out?
It's
Since
like
2007 or something. We needed the app. It's just.
We
Saying we never needed it is like
can't,
saying.
we can't stop progress. I think that sometimes things happen, people develop things, people create things, and so maybe it's having to deal with them. But for sure, some have extremely negative consequences. And like you said very early in the show, even before knowing about this topic, that there's some sometimes very small positives in social media versus the cons. They can be quite extreme and even dangerous. And you can be catfished, and I don't want to be catfished. It's too much work.
Because I work with people.
All these dating apps.
Yeah,
do,
I think
do real life.
that's what I'm hearing, which is great. Yeah.
Do real life.
Do real life. I'm gonna be hanging out at the Sudbury's here in the UK. Yeah? I'll be at the Sudbury's in the yogurt aisle, getting the strawberry yogurt.
in a blue shirt.
No, I'll wear this pink thing. Yeah, let's not be shy.
It's
and I kind of like chatting, but just for coffee, yeah. Once the intentions change, we shall be very expensive.
Then you make a contract, business contract.
Exactly. Yeah.
Take you on dates and then sign up to participants. Okay.
I'll be at the Sudbury's tomorrow.
Right.
I think it's time.
Final one.
Thanks, guys.
It's an interesting topic.
Do you want to close up any
No.
loose ends?
No, later.
Okay.
Wait 1 second.
Okay, where's the song?
And I was only teasing. This is. Yeah. No, I wasn't teasing about looking good because,
Yeah.
No, it's true, I don't feel like I was catfished by any of you guys. What is this?
Catfish.
Oh, really?
No. What is it? Catfish.
Good intentions.
Good intention.
I felt like the theme behind what you were saying.
Each one of these could be definitely get left up in the wrong, couldn't they?
Good intentions. So, swiftly moving on. Harissimo.
Time has come. I'll put the title first.
Whoa. What are we talking about?
So, we are talking about. What is that?
Live video blocked. Your video is no longer discoverable on Facebook because it may contain music.
Good job, Siji. Good job.
Now nobody will ever see this. Well done. Fucking hell. I didn't realize Facebook had that algorithm. What if you're doing a live talks when you've got like, oh, fucking hell.
So you shouldn't be playing certain music.
You can't play any reality, like royalty music.
Okay. Clearly, they didn't catch the first two.
But I guess he wasn't playing for that long. It wasn't like
Yeah.
Resume. Just go resume. Fuck it.
Yeah. You can resume.
Because of the music.
All right.
No more music on mine. I guess we're gonna have to start creating original music.
Part?
No, it's still there.
Bring out your guitar.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, well, now we have a
And
music.
we can do
But
some
it's not.
acapella.
Is this live anymore?
Yeah, still like.
Okay.
We're broadcasting.
We're broadcasting.
We are?
Yeah.
Okay, great.
Okay.
So,
Yeah, we're broadcasting.
the final topic: the unknown. Well, this is a particular subject that's specifically.
You know what? We should have stopped and made each video separately. Never mind.
I guess I'll make this one separate. Okay.
Yeah, we can do. Okay.
No.
No.
We might as well just carry on.
No. Okay.
yeah.
So this is a particular topic that's currently a major.
Sorry. Keep talking.
But he's just putting light torch. Topic 4.
Okay. So this is a kind of topic that's in my mind and in my life at the moment because I'm reaching the end of my studies.
Cheers.
Just that.
Woohoo.
Graduating in. Come on.
I'm gonna break my teeth, huh?
Yeah.
Touch the
Like
glass line.
clamps. I'll have perfect
Yeah.
veneers.
So yeah, graduating in 3 days and reaching the end of something, and it's the start of something new, but still don't know what that new thing is and what it can be, and it's just an unknown. You don't know what's coming next. You don't know what life will bring. You don't know where you stand in certain situations. And the first question
Footsies with Siji.
is stop.
Ooh.
Molesting
You gotta
child.
tell him to stop it.
Are your intentions both clear?
Is this a date?
I'm just doing a feel for interaction.
Oh, wink, wink, okay. So the first question that is it good or is it bad? Or is it a mixture of the two?
The unknown.
The unknown.
Oh, I need to jump in right there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right.
Jump in.
Like
first.
right. The unknown is like it's like a void. The void. You know, we don't know what's in there, but at the same time, it could be nothing. It could be absolutely everything. I think the unknown, whether it's the future or an event or inside a box, we don't know what's in it. It could be literally anything. I think the unknown is where infinity is the domain of infinity. Infinite possibilities exists. And I remember when I finished my diploma at college and I'd applied for university and I was waiting on all the outcomes. I had no idea what I was going to do. Was I going to get a job? Was I going to go to university? I was going to do something totally different. It was unknown. I had no idea. But at the same time, it was exciting for me. Because at that point in time, I knew that it could have been anything. And I started fantasizing about what my future could be and how I could act in that future and what I could be doing. And, you know, that very idea of infinite possibilities excited me. I was like on the leading edge of my life. You know, I think it's exciting and it's wonderful. I'm addicted to that feeling a little bit. And
I think I'm getting that sense today.
And at the same time, it's also terrifying.
Oh yeah.
Because uncertainty, the unknown is uncertain. And I think humans, we like a lot of certainty in our life because it's comfortable. You know, we like to be comfortable. We like to know, all right, certainty of life. I'm certain that I've got a roof over my head and I've got food in the fridge. It's comfortable. You know, but I think a lot of people, I don't mean to go too off course here, but a lot of people, they prioritize certainty over everything else. And in fact, they don't want any unknowns. They want their life to work out exactly as they plan from birth to death. And I think that is a life wasted. It's never one thing. It's never going to work out that way, and you're going to only be disappointed and stressed. But to embrace the unknown, I think, is the only logical solution.
What do you think, Edna?
Well, I mean, I think that
Siji, God damn it.
I think that
Trying to make good money here.
okay, focus though. Reel you in. I think that when you have too much uncertainty, it can result in anxiety, and anxiety can lead to depression. So all this is not necessarily very good. I think that everyone on this table, and certainly for you, there's some things that you know that have formed the way you think. You know, for example, that you are maybe a planner or not, or you know that there are certain. Everything might seem unknown, but it's not completely unknown, right? So in a way, it's like, as you say, opening a box of chocolate. You still know what chocolate kind of tastes like. You don't exactly know what it exactly will, especially if it's different brands. It says mint chocolate, it will taste a little bit different, right? But if you do open the box, it's going to be some kind of chocolate, and the taste will be a little bit familiar. So I think that yes, it might be, of course, it's uncertain when you don't know, are you going to get a job? How are you going to survive? But maybe that is the extreme, right? But the other side of it is that obviously you have some training. So it can come in handy to a certain extent. You have a family, you have friends, maybe, you have, okay, maybe also you have family. But I mean, I'm saying that some things are quite set, so those are like a very good base to have, and then there's uncertainty around it, so it's not about nothing is completely uncertain, so it should have that much anxiety. It's always remembering, but these are the things I have,
for sure. And I think that's vital.
Yeah.
Like, like I was saying, having a roof over my head, having food in the fridge, if you don't have that, and everything's uncertain, you're going to be depressed and anxious. If you have only uncertainty, then we're humans, we're designed, we need certainty and comfort.
We need some uncertainty, I think. But
we also need uncertainty, we need variety, So I think we're also get bored of things. That's when people become complacent. They have a job that they've been in for 20 years and that they're just doing the same thing over and over,
Yeah.
But I think people, this is the point now I'm having, is that people prioritize certainty because it's easy and it's their automatic response. I want everything to be certain. I want everything to be certain. They have no confidence in facing or dealing with, or even experience dealing with uncertainty or the unknown. Or if they have, they've had negative experiences, and so they're scared to do that. And so they need to change their relationship with facing uncertainty.
Yeah.
For example, a relationship, the very premise of a relationship is uncertain.
Absolutely.
You never know, it could end at any point. Anything could happen. But it should make you enjoy the relationship with that person in the moment, each passing day. I think it's only when you start becoming uncomfortable and certain within that relationship,
right,
possible problems can occur. But obviously, both people like that certainty. They like the comfort. They like the certainty.
Well, it's just having that fundamental. Like, for example, it might be a base of values or beliefs, or you have this shared goals, but the reality is people change or circumstances change. So your goal might be, I want to be a millionaire, but guess what? There's a deep recession, and you realize maybe it won't happen. But how do you reset that goal so that you're both comfortable? And if not, maybe you have to part ways. But
I think the point in life is that nothing is certain. There is no such thing as certainty. There's always an element of uncertainty.
Except life, death, and taxes.
Except who said there was somebody said
social media.
Yeah, and now social media. So I think I think it's a very big skill. I think it's important, a useful life skill to have is to be able to embrace uncertainty and the unknown, because I think that's all there is in life. You know?
For sure.
And we can control that uncertainty by creating a little bit of certainty to a large extent.
Yeah.
Siji, you've not said anything about the unknown yet.
Unknown. Yeah, I like what you both said.
What did we say? Fucking writing the whole time.
What did you say? James was talking about the good and the bad side of the unknown, the positivity and the negativity.
That's a really... Yes, I did technically do.
You did?
That's what my question was.
What is your question again for CG?
What is your question?
What's the good and the bad for when it comes to the unknown?
Oh, okay. No, James, wait. Okay, you talked about the
Do you want me to
effect of the
summarize? Do
positivity.
you want me to summarize? I'll summarize back to you. So my point, and Edna came up with a really good point as well, that too much certainty in life too much uncertainty in life is going to cause depression, anxiety, this kind of thing. And so we need certainty. And we need a baseline of certainty in our life to feel comfortable. But my point along that is that we can't actually have complete certainty in anything we do. We're always going to have uncertainty. In fact, that's all we can be certain of is uncertainty. Nothing is fixed. You might wake up dead tomorrow. Your relationship might end. You might get fired at your job. You don't know. Right? Things that you have certain now might not be certain. So my point is that we should embrace uncertainty, because for me, uncertainty is infinite possibility. You don't know what's going to happen, but anything could happen. And I think that's really exciting. I think that's and especially when you realise that you've actually maybe got a lot more control.
So
potential.
You said it's good and you said it was bad.
No, we're not. No. I'm saying that it causes a lot of issues and a lot of anxiety because we're humans and we learn to deal with certainty. We want certainty. We want things to be comfortable. I think that's natural. That's natural for people to want certainty. But I think it's bad when we prioritise certainty over variety and challenge and growth.
But that was just a description of uncertainty. What do you actually? Was always it good or is it bad?
For you, take a blank slate. What is your perspective?
So for me, it is both. It's balance. But no, for me, from a logical standpoint, it's balance. For me, from a personal standpoint, balance. For me, from a personal standpoint, the unknown is bad because I tend to focus on the negative aspect of it, which results in the downside. But logically, it's neither good nor bad. It's all about balance. It's about having a good, having a good, looking at it from a good perspective, from a positive perspective, and seeing how uncertainty is good because it means nothing is defined in your life, and you have the power to change it when you want and to go in a certain way. And it's bad because uncertainty can be bad because it means you, in certain situations, you don't have control over the situation, and when you're trying to gain control, it results in turmoil. So,
going back to lifetime's one.
It's neither good nor bad. It's all about having balance. That's my response to the question.
You're saying that what was it? Your emotional response to uncertainty is one of negativity because you focus on the negative parts. So I'm the same. I was the same, and I think it's the natural response for us because uncertainty, emotional reaction we have to it is.
I'm going to stop you. Natural response for us, but not us as human beings.
No, I think it's a natural response to us as a human being. And this is my stance on it, is that we're designed, our minds are designed for control structure, part of it. And the reason that we grow as humans is because we go, oh shit, we need to come up with a solution to this, and it's by necessity that we are creative problem solvers, as a species. And I think we're all trying to make our things, we're trying to survive basically. And for that we need to create certainty in our environment and our lives. So I think certainty is something that but when an uncertainty happens, I think the emotional response we have is one of fear, and I think that overriding fear can be controlled through experience, or it could be controlled through mental gymnastics, I guess you call it, by training your mind and
Stop fucking buying shit, cat.
So the question I have to you actually is, do you not think that having confidence, the definition of confidence actually, I think, is about facing uncertainty and dealing with uncertainty. If you're confident, then you can deal with whatever happens. Or that is my definition of confidence.
Yeah.
So do you think that you could train your mind or your emotional response to not have these negative thoughts about uncertainty and then to go, well, actually embrace it?
Yeah, I do think it's possible. I wouldn't say it's got anything to do with confidence. I'd more say, well, but then again, maybe it depends on how you define confidence. I would say it's all about your belief in yourself.
Yeah.
So if you believe in yourself, you can change anything in your mind.
I think I do think one thing first. I do think it's more complex than people sometimes. Some people really will always need help for the rest of their life, or to even be confident in themselves, and will never be able to make that transition to be comfortable with uncertainty. It might be for many reasons. Obviously, it might be an emotional thing. It might be a mental thing. It might be there's so many things. So I think that yes, confidence is some people just are able to learn and adopt these cognitive things, but some people aren't able to. It doesn't matter what tools they're given, or even some people don't even have those tools available in their society to use to become a bit more comfortable with an uncertain future. But I think as well, but just to reel back a little bit backwards is, I do think, however, that there's some societies and Western societies which tend to be very individualistic. I'm not saying it's not all over the world, but where depends on. I mean, it really depends on, especially the Western concept of life. I think there's much more uncertainty because sometimes you have to depend on yourself as an individual, or even just the way you're taught. Look at the American system, for example, which is very capitalistic, and you grow up with this idea that you have it within your control to make yourself something like that, right? That all your effort is really up to you, and if you're poor, it's because you're not trying hard enough. And I don't think that is true, because sometimes, again, the circumstances around you are so difficult that you cannot even perceive the idea of enjoying uncertainty. Or there are some cultures where uncertainty is not a thought. You only live for today. It's just how they are raised. Like, this is today. I mean, of course, they have jobs, or they have a farm, or whatever, but they tend to have the kind of life which is, it is today, and not to think too much into the future.
Focus.
I mean, clearly, I think that especially like Southeast Asian parts of the world, where people very much believe in, it's not about thinking about the future too much. It's about the present and enjoying and living the
That's
present.
really hard to live in this world. I think everything is designed to stress us out. Always we're too future oriented and I suppose we live in the past and we're imprisoned by the fear of the future. And to bring your mind to the present moment takes, like, for us, it takes a lot of hard work, and but you can do it.
Being very mindful.
Yeah, being
very
mindful.
hard.
Yeah, living, like you say, hearing about living in the moment.
Like our friends who like writing about ideas of the future.
Hey, listen,
Very
I think
hard.
that's a good thing to do as well. Visualizing the future and trying to visualize how you'd like your own growth and development to occur. But I think living in the moment is nice as well, to slow down and to breathe in the fresh air, to experience things.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, all we can be certain of is this present moment, right? But then how much do we know about this?
Exactly, right?
Like the unknown. If you think about if you think about all of matter and energy in the universe, and you think of the electromagnetic spectrum, and then you think of visible light on the electromagnetic spectrum, which is like 0.5% of all of the electromagnetic spectrum. You've got gamma rays, X-rays. Now you consider that 0.5% of the whole electromagnetic spectrum. So the whole electromagnetic spectrum is even so small. It's like 0.001% of all of matter. So basically what we're seeing is only a fraction of a tiny fraction of what is actually there. And we're saying, talking about the unknown. What is that? What is dark energy? What is that? Well, we have no idea.
Are you feeling more comfortable now about the unknown future that is coming for you?
Well,
I don't know. It's very philosophical. It's very.
it's
You never know.
I think it's important as we're talking to. You need to embrace it. You need to accept that.
You need to embrace the topic.
What do you need to accept?
You need to accept that you won't know 100% everything that will happen, and you don't have, and you will never have the power. It will be unknown in many situations. But you should understand that believe in yourself and feel that what you're doing now is what you want to do, and that it will have a positive impact to what you want to achieve in the future. And whatever the future will be,
Que será, será.
the future will eventually be the present, where you will know at that moment what's going on.
Yeah.
So
Not that the future will be the present. You can't entirely determine what it will be, but you can. Yeah.
it will eventually be so.
Yeah.
Just wait. Thanks, guys.
Hey, Sarah, Sarah.
Great.
The future will be.
So for now, we can't actually play songs. So we'll
The
just sing them.
future's not ours to see.
We have some musicians here,
Que será,
like some guitarists.
será.
Oh yes.
Get the guitar
Yeah.
up. What will be, will be.
We can do
When we were just
what's it called?
little
Harmony.
children.
Oh yeah.
Harmony.
Oh, you want to do a
Yeah.
harmonization?
Yeah. It's adios. Some lungs on you. Wow.
For everyone,
So make your intentions clear. Sorry.
nobody's gonna.
Oh, come on now. Had to take like 3 breaths there.
Next week to nobody, because nobody's gonna be able to see this video because it's a strike. Yes.
You
Okay.
can see it if you go directly on the page.
Marion said she couldn't find it when she went on the page.
On the page?
Okay.
It's there now. Look. Well, I can see
So we
it.
should say adios anyway,
No, because it's your
Don't you
page.
need a tag?
right?
I did, but then they took it off when the thingy came up.
Okay. Say again.
We're saying adios.
Adios. Ciao.
Ciao, bello.
Arrivederci.
Until next time on Life Talks. Follow our page to find out what we're up to and what we're doing next.
Life Aid on 19999.
Virtual reality is the place to go.
Bringing people and things together.
That'll be your way out.